Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This one I felt called to talk about my decks, specifically my tarot decks. I got a lot of new decks for Christmas and I haven't actually done a video like this before. I have made crystal videos and maybe some other related videos, but I got some decks for Christmas, so I just really felt like talking about my tarot decks today. So this is going to be sort of a haul and a collection video, and we will just get straight into it. I will talk a little bit about each deck, sort of their backstory, how I got it, what I use it for, and so on. I'm just sipping my tea. I hope I'm not too caffeinated. So let's just get started. We will start with my newest decks that I got for Christmas. So they were this one. Also, I have about 19 tarot decks. That is not counting oracle decks, just so you know. So I do have more decks, but today I think we'll only be able to get through just the tarot decks. Some of these you might recognize in general, or even from some of my videos if you've seen them. So let's start with this one. This one is called the Mother Piece Round Tarot Deck. Actually, my mother did give me this, so it is a special one. Also, it's interesting because I don't have another deck that is circular like this one, so that is also something that is unique about it. So we will get these out. Which card is this? The Three of Wands. Yeah, and you can see it's circular, has this nice little pattern here. And what's cool about these decks is this one in particular is the design. The colors that are used are very warm. I kind of want to save this deck more for the summer time, and yeah, I just really like the style of these illustrations. They remind me sort of like a more graphic child's book. So there are some naked figures here. I hope I don't get demonetized for that. But you can see this is the style here. The Magician. I have to admit, this does feel a bit awkward. I am not used to really talking in this more candid way, I guess, about the things that I have. But yeah, so this is the Mother Piece tarot deck. My camera never focuses. There we go. Very beautiful. Okay, this one is probably my favorite deck that I got for Christmas. Maybe one of my favorite decks in general. It's the Star Trek Next Generation tarot deck. And I have to say, I am just so about this deck. My sister gifted this to me. She's a real one. She knows. I really like Star Trek. I wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan, but I definitely am a bit of a fan. So let's take it out and I can show you some of these cards. Wow. I will definitely be using this deck probably in some of my videos coming up. And you can see here how they use the characters for these cards. My favorite character is Counselor Troy, the High Priestess. I'm definitely a bit of a geek. My favorite is the original Star Trek with Captain Kirk. But Next Gen is really cool too. They have these little Klingons weapons here. I like seeing how with different decks, especially ones that come from or that are inspired by movies, how they sort of adapt different symbolism to these suits, the Ferengi. So yeah, that's this deck. Be prepared to see it in some of my videos coming up. Alright. Next, let's talk about this deck, which was the other one that I got for Christmas. It's called the Fountain Tarot. This is what it looks like. It's holographic. This one is a much more abstract deck. I do like the color scheme though. It's relaxing, some more blues and grays. Yeah. So let's take it out. And you can kind of see this color scheme here. I hope you can see it with this lighting. Very pretty. It's very simple designs as well. I really like this deck because it's holographic, but also because the designs and the images on the cards are more simple. They look very clean and also subjective too, so that kind of leaves some room for your intuition and the imagination too. Look at this, the Seven of Swords. Also, comment down below if you have any of these decks or just what your favorite tarot decks are. I also really like these more geometrical shapes too. I think they're very cool. So yeah, that is the Fountain Tarot. I will definitely be using this deck in some of my videos because I think it's very well suited to a lot of different topics. So yeah, those were the decks that I got for Christmas. I am very excited about that. Next, let's just get into other decks that I have here. Let's start with this one. This one was also a gift from my mom, I think maybe a few Christmases ago. It's cool. It has powerful women from history on the cards, but it is a more specific niche sort of deck, so I don't really use it as much as I should probably. But it is very beautiful. You can see they have these little designs with the women here. And I also learned a lot too from this deck because some of these women actually, I'm ashamed to admit, I hadn't really known that much about or really heard of. So, yeah, super cool. I hope this is picking up well on the camera for you guys. Ooh, this is my favorite card, the Three of Cups. Charlotte, Emily, and Anne Bronte. I love the Brontes. Josephine Baker. Yeah. This is a very nice deck. It has gold on the outside here. Also, I'm sorry if you can hear that. There's always some noises happening whenever I shoot these videos. Whether people, neighbors are more loud or whatever it is, it always seems to happen whenever I start shooting this card. There we go. So that's this tarot deck. It is called Our Tarot. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, what next? Ooh, let's go to this one. This is an interesting deck, actually. I got this a few years ago. There's kind of a funny story behind it. This is called UFO Tarot, and if you look at the writing, it looks like Cyrillic. Yeah, so here's the thing. This is a really unique, more rare deck, and I had actually wanted it for a while, but I couldn't really find it online. The seller maybe ran out of them or just wasn't available. And then I remember checking in, happening to just look it up again a year later, and I found it. And it was actually from the seller in Ukraine, right? And this was back in 2020, I believe. Actually, no, 2021. Yeah, that was when I found it. So I went ahead and ordered it. It did take a while to get here, but when it did, I was so excited. So let's open it up. And it's funny, I still saved the postage stamps that came with it from Ukraine, which was really cool. And this is what the deck looks like. It's very cool. You have here on the back of these cards some kind of shields. It is a spacey deck, so similar to the next gen. It is more of a niche deck, and I don't know, maybe if I shoot a video that's UFO related, or I don't know, starseed related, I could include these decks. I don't really use it that much, considering how bad I did want it at the time, I suppose. And yeah, the little guidebook is also in Cyrillic, so I've sort of had to figure it out intuitively. But if you know the general numberings of the major arcana, you can kind of figure it out that this is the moon card, or this is the world, right? So yeah, very pretty. I think the suits are, so there's coins, there's sabers, or sabers, like lightsabers are swords, and then, yeah, so this, I think this might be the knight, or the page of swords, strength. I hope I'm doing a good job showing this, doing this deck justice. Oh yeah, these are cups, the 9 of cups. Let's see if we can focus. There we go. Yeah, and it has a lot of blues, grays, and white aesthetics. This is the Ace of Cups. It's just a very cool deck. It's fun. I wish I could use it more. But again, whenever you have decks that are more specific or niche, oh wow, sorry about that sound. You might not use it as much, or you just use it on particular occasions. So yeah, that is that. Next, let's go to this one. This is called, actually, let's do both of these. These are both gifted to me from my sister as well, I think a few Christmases ago. They both have sort of medieval-ish energy, or wait, not energy, imagery. I guess energy too. So let's start with this one. This is the Aquarian Tarot by David Palladini. I really like this one. I like the colors. It kind of reminds me of fall. Okay. You can kind of see here, has more simple images, but cool design and colors. Ooh, the sun. Kind of reminds me of a medieval tapestry kind of look. The Hermit. And I've definitely used this deck before in videos. I hope to use it more often as well. And then rods are wands. I used this deck a lot actually this past fall, which was fun. I think also because I was taking this this medieval history class, English history class, that so I also kind of was really extra here for this aesthetic and using this deck more often. So yeah, that is this deck. Hold up. Sometimes you have to put it away in a very specific manner because sometimes these boxes have these little things where it can get caught in. So yeah, that was the Aquarian Tarot. Next, let's take a look at this. This is the Bianco Nero Tarot. Is it Nero or Nero? I don't know. So let's open her up. I use this deck actually a lot. I think it's cool though. I really like it because of the black and white cards. I haven't really seen that as often. And again, it sort of has this more medieval kind of print look, like little engravings or illustrations. And also, what's important, I think, too, with a tarot deck is that it's a good size, especially for your hands. And this one, I don't know, it feels good in the hands, and also it shuffles well, too. It's easy to kind of work with, and then I really like the images, and because it's in black and white, it kind of aesthetically can mesh well with a lot of other decks that I have, like oracle decks. It's fun to shuffle. So yeah, that is the Bianco Nero Tarot. Next up, let's take a look at this one. This one I got this fall, actually around Halloween, maybe a little after. But I am so excited to use it for next fall, or even just whenever, because I really do like it, even though it specifically is more of a Halloween seasonal deck. It's just so cool. I really wish I could have used it more. or even just ordered it earlier. And yeah, so the Jack-o'-lantern tarot, jack-o'-lanterns feature prominently. I love the color scheme. I see a lot of purples and sky blues and greens. Very magical. And again, this deck is very easy to shuffle. It's a nice size, similar to this one. It's small, but it's the cards are a little thinner, so you can, especially if you have smaller hands. I think my hands are pretty, like, they're probably bigger, but it's just, it feels good to hold. It fits nicely, and you can just shuffle. Sometimes it's fun to just shuffle. Eight of Pentacles, Ace of Wands. So yeah, I will definitely be using this deck a lot during Halloween, during the fall, or honestly just whenever I feel like it. That's what's cool about tarot though, is that there are no rules. You can do whatever you feel like for the most part, because it is based off of your intuition. Okay, so next let's go to this one. This is the Modern Witch Tarot deck. It's pretty standard. Yeah, I've seen this deck a lot, or come up a lot, recommended on Amazon, Etsy, when I do look at tarot decks. This one was a gift, I believe. And it's very cool. It has lots of people of color. And it kind of reminds me more so of certain street art that I've seen. Has the phone there. I really like the Empress card. She is gorgeous. I hope you guys can see this. Truly appreciate these cards. And this one is really, the cards are thicker, so it is a bit more bulky to shuffle. It's a bit harder to shuffle, this one, I find, than some of the others that I've shown. But it is a very cool deck, and it works really well, I think, with a lot of themes that I do for my readings. And yeah, it has that, definitely has that modern flair to it. I also like the light blue on the back of these cards. It's really about the aesthetic though, I think, with tarot, and also how it feels, how it fits with your hand. And also intuitively, sometimes you just feel more drawn to certain decks, or you know, that you resonate more with the energy or the vibe from certain decks more so than others. So yeah, that was the Modern Witch Tarot. Let me put this back. Okay, so there's this one too. This is the Tarot of Sexual Magic. I have used this in some of my 18+ readings. I will probably pass on showing you this today just because this video is not 18+. It's not a reading. But this is a very useful deck to have if you like doing a lot of love readings. Also, if you do sexual magic readings or divination, this is a very cool deck to have. And the imagery again is just very colorful and very fleshy. So yeah, it says suitable for adults only. So that's this one. Next, let's go here. This is a deck that I got a while ago, I think maybe back in 2020. It's called the Brotherhood of Light Egyptian Tarot. So let's take a look. What's cool about this deck is it's on the smaller side, so it is really fun to shuffle. However, some of these cards, I'm not still completely sure on which equivalent cards they're supposed to be, because they have certain symbols here on the borders which are kind of different from traditional tarot. So yeah, I'm still sort of learning this deck. I don't really use it as much, also because some of these images are just more cryptic. They could be interpreted, well, this is obviously the Hanged Man, but I just mean, I don't know, because they're supposed to mimic ancient Egyptian images, so that makes sense. Like this one, for instance, I'm not sure if the J is supposed to be the knight, as in a jack being the equivalent of a knight in tarot, or a page, but there's that. But this is a cool deck. It's very colorful. I don't use it that much again, but it is cool because sometimes I do take it out on occasion and flip through these cards and think, ooh, this is a pretty cool deck. I always think I should use it more, or at least get more acquainted with the meanings of the cards. But it's a good size, and I just wish I used it more. It's nice to shuffle. 3 of coins. Yeah, and then sometimes these energies here, these zodiac or astrological symbols sometimes confuse me because I'm not always sure if they're supposed to be, because sometimes they look sort of different from what I would usually associate those equivalent cards of being. So there is that. That's probably why it's taken me a while to, that I'm still sort of working on figuring out some of these meanings from this deck. But yeah, that is the Brotherhood of Light. Very nice. So let's move on to this one. This is the Ethereal Visions Illuminated Tarot deck. I really like this deck, especially in the springtime. It has gold on it, on a lot of these cards, the borders. It's just a very nice deck. I think the colors are these more pastel colors. It's very, sorry, the camera cut out there for a second. But yeah, you can see these golds. It's a very kind of romantic deck. I have used this quite a bit in love readings or just attraction readings too. It's nice to shuffle. It's very smooth. Ooh, the Lovers. Very nice. And I just like the gold too. I am a big fan of that creative choice. Whoever was designing this deck. And yeah, I think that I've definitely seen a lot of other tarot readers use this deck too, so I know it's one that is available and easier to find too. So that's this one. Next, we're going to sort of move over here. So this is the Dragon Tarot. Again, this is one that I don't really use as often, but I do feel an intuitive connection to it. It is interesting. Let's take a looky. And obviously it has dragons on it. I have another dragon deck as well that's an oracle deck. I think that one is called the Dragon Oracle. So I really should use them together in some kind of a dragon themed reading for you guys, but yeah. So let's sort of go through this. We have the King of Wands. The cards are on the smaller side. This is a nice deck to sort of hold and shuffle. It's more of a fantasy themed deck for sure. I think I have a lot of fantasy or more sci-fi kind of decks, which definitely shows a lot about me. But yeah, I would definitely use this deck more often. The thing is, when you get to a point where you have a lot of decks to choose from, it's kind of sad because I think same thing with crystals. There are some which you just don't end up using or working with as much just because they're ones that you would sooner reach for. But I still really like it. Next, let's go here. The Tarot Grand Lux. Or Lux. This one I also got a while back. It's very nice. I've used this deck quite a lot actually in my readings. It's very nice because just the images are bright. It's easy to read and kind of figure out the meanings even if you didn't have previous tarot experience, I think. And I like these more bronzy, gold, darker colors of this deck. It has a Harlequin theme to it that you can see here with these masks. Kind of reminds me of the Circus Oracle deck that I also have. Ooh. What's this card? The Two of Cups. There you go. Whoa. Ten of Coins. Yeah, I think I got this deck in the fall a few years back, and I just remember working with it a lot and definitely using it in my videos. You've probably seen it. But yeah, that is this one. It has more of a playful quality to it, but I do feel very also intuitively drawn to it too. Here's another one that I also use quite frequently. It's called the Crow Tarot. This is also another one that I work with a lot in the fall because it's more Halloween-esque. It has crows. And I really like the images too. Also similar to this deck, it has a more thick feel, but it's easy to shuffle. It's easy to kind of hold and shuffle, which I like. I really appreciate that. But yeah, I recommend this deck. I highly recommend it, especially if you want more fall or Halloween themed decks. Definitely this one, as well as the Jack-o'-lantern tarot, are my favorites. And it has this brown back side too, which is very earthy. Okay, so let's move on. Also, I think it's stormy outside as well. That's why it's picking up some of the noises that usually wouldn't be here. Okay, so we are almost done. Let's go to this one. This is also another deck that I use a lot, Mystic Monday's Tarot. It's another holographic deck. And it also has more kind of abstract, modern designs on the cards too. And this is a very just colorful deck. It kind of reminds me of the cartoon style of The Incredibles a little bit, if you know what I mean. But yeah, has some geometrical shapes too. But I like it when a deck has more subjectivity to its images, and it's not quite as in your face, because that allows your intuition to sort of pick up more than it might if it's just given a really detailed image, right? So for instance, look at this, the Two of Pentacles. Just looking at the shape, you can probably come up with other meanings that you wouldn't necessarily think of if you saw the traditional Two of Pentacles. Maybe that's just me. I do like this kind of modern holographic deck. It's really fun to shuffle too. And the colors, it's just very colorful. So I would give this deck a high rating. I strongly recommend. Put it back. Okay, next up, I have this mini little Rider-Waite deck. This was also a Christmas present this year. And I haven't really used this deck yet. I think it'd be a really nice one though to use for travel or to bring somewhere, because it's small, it's very mobile. It's easy to shuffle. Well, it is a Rider-Waite deck, a regular one, just miniature, which is so cute. I don't know if any of you guys were also into those mini Uno decks when you were younger, or you played Uno, but that's kind of what it reminds me of in a very cute, nostalgic way. Very cute. I always recommend having a traditional Rider-Waite tarot deck, just because that is a classic deck, and it really helps when that is your first deck, or just you're working off of those images, because I think there's nothing like it. So this was my first deck. I got this so long ago. Also for Christmas, I think. It was a gift from my mom, and getting this deck is what got me actually into tarot and got me doing readings for family, on myself. And recently I got my sister her first Rider-Waite deck. Yeah, I think this is just such a good deck to have, especially when you're starting out. The images are classic. Just such a good deck. I know I've definitely used this deck in readings before, but because this is a more sentimental deck, I don't really use it as much as other decks, I think, because I sort of want to preserve its energy, especially because I got it when I was much younger. So yeah, it has that more youthful, special quality to it. Let me see if I can actually put it away. There we go. And then I believe I have one more deck that I haven't gotten to. Yeah, this one. This is the Pastel Journey Tarot deck by Vanessa Samina. I feel like if you're watching this, you most definitely come across a reading from Vanessa Samina here on YouTube. She is one of my absolute favorites. I really just love her readings, love her delivery too. She's very positive and just beautiful. She's someone who you like watching. And this deck is where do I start? It is so aesthetic. I was one of the first to order it, so I also have her signature right there. And I love this deck because it's very girly and just cutesy, which is nice and refreshing. So yeah, it has lots of pinks. It is a holographic deck. And it's very easy to shuffle too. It's just so nice. And yeah, I don't really use it as much because it has more of a particular kind of energy. Or sorry, imagery. I guess both. But it's very aesthetic and cute. If I were a girl, this is definitely a deck that I would play with, that I would use a lot. Because of the pinks, it reminds me of like Barbie's, My Little Pony even. But yeah, I think I've used this before in love readings though. It also has that kind of energy too that's very suited to like romance. It's cute and very flirty too. This is such a Gemini deck, honestly though. In a very kind of fun, light-hearted way. Also because pastels are such a more kind of springtime color too. So yeah, that is this deck. This is my last deck. In total, I showed you 19 decks, I think. That is just tarot decks though, too. So there's a lot of other decks that I have that are just oracle cards. So yeah, we have definitely made a dent in my collection, my card collection. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is a very different video than I'm typically used to, but it also feels refreshing to do this because, I don't know, a lot of these decks I don't really work with as much as I should, and it kind of gets me to think about using them more often. It's also just fun to do a show and tell. But I was so excited though because I had gotten decks for Christmas, so I really wanted to show you guys, especially the Star Trek deck. This this is definitely my favorite gift, I think, from this holiday. And yeah, I'm such a geek. I know it. So I will leave this video here for now. I hope you guys enjoyed it and weren't weirded out or anything. Okay, I will leave it here. I hope you guys have a super amazing day. I'm sending you so much love and luck, and I will see you guys later.